Hey, what is up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this. My name is Adam. It is my job to help it make sense in SketchUp. So in this video, we're going to be talking about how to import something from the 3D warehouse, like, for example, these Rosetta outcropping walls. Shout out to the Hardscape Brotherhood, and everyone in hardscaping knows about the Rosetta walls. So someone had asked me how to take these into Uvision or Realtime Landscape Architect. Whenever they would download them from the 3D warehouse, try to take them in, they would get this entire thing come into Uvision, and there's no real way to break it up. So I'm going to go through the process of how to bring something from the 3D warehouse and then how to break it up and do a bulk export of all of these stones into their individual SketchUp models that you can then import. All right. So we have this one here. I'm going to go back into the 3D warehouse and grab another one. So I am in SketchUp 2021 Pro. This would probably be the same for any version of SketchUp that you're using. The last free version of SketchUp would allow you to do this as well. That's 2017. SketchUp Make 2017. If you wanted to grab that, you could do this as well. So we're just going to go Window down to 3D Warehouse. All right. So in the 3D Warehouse, we are going to search for Rosetta. And you can see I've already done that. And we've brought in this collection here. This is the Oberfield's Rosetta Outcropping Wall Series. And then we're going to get the irregulars as well. All right. So I'm going to click there, hit download, and load those right into my model. And those will all come in. All right. And then we're just going to kind of position them here and click and place them. Okay. So move this away from this mouse here. You can kind of see I'm rotating down with the middle mouse button. You can kind of see it highlighting here. Middle mouse along with shift is giving me the pan, and then the scroll wheel up and down, you can see it over here as well, is zooming in and out. So I can zoom in and out, hold the middle mouse to rotate, and rotate around and look at these and kind of see what's going on. All right, so we have our wall block, right? But then we have the labels that they've added, just so when you save this to the 3D warehouse, that this would be in the thumbnail. So that's the reason why they did that. However, we don't really want that in what we're trying to do, which is get these over into something like Uvision or break them up separately so that we can put them into our component library and then just bring them into SketchUp individually as well. All right, so how are we going to save these out? First thing we're going to do is click on it with the left mouse button and then right click on it and go to explode. And what that did is it took the outer container and it exploded it down into its individual components on the inside. So if I click on this and I look up here, I can see in my entity info window the definition of what I have selected. So this is a component. And if you don't see the entity info window, you might have to go to Windows, Default Tray, and make sure that it's turned on. All right. So, or you might have to expand it by clicking here. But if we have this selected, we can see that it's one in the model. So there's one component here selected, which basically a component is kind of an outer shell, right? It's a model within the model, right? So we went to the 3D warehouse, we grabbed that and we pulled it in. So it's almost like this separate model. And because of that, it has the capability of having a definition. So we have a definition here. But the cool thing about SketchUp is you can always also assign price, size, URL, status, owner, and give it a type. So there's a lot of things that you can leverage here for estimating. So that's pretty cool. But we also have another window down here under entity info called components. And if that's not on, again, under window default tray, make sure components is turned on. So in our components drop down, we have the ability to go to select and then click the little house, and that gives us the tag in model. So this will basically show us all the components that are in our model. So right now we have this, you can see the name here, the step series, it's right here. So So if we would click on this, it would actually give us a second version of this. And if we would click here, it would give us a second version of this one. All right. So even though we exploded this, and these are now individual components, it's still showing the original one that we imported. And the reason for that is because when you bring something into SketchUp, I could actually delete this altogether, and it's still in my component window. So when you delete something, you're essentially deleting it out of the model space, but you're not deleting it out of the project. So it still exists in the project, in the component window, and I could bring it back just by clicking there. However, if I delete this and then I go into the component window and click on this details button and go to purge, it would then purge everything out of the project that's not in the model space. So if I would delete these steps like this, and then I would go over here and go to Purge Unused, you can see that they've both disappeared now. Okay, so let's just undo that and undo that delete. So now we have this one here again. All right, so right click and go to Explode. All right, so what are we going to do? We're going to get in here and let's delete the text. Okay, just click on this and this. If we look up in our entity info, we can see that it's defined as an image. So that's not really going to show up in our component window, which is an important fact. So let's delete that. These are components that make up the text. So those will show up in our component window. So that's something to be mindful of as well. All right, so let's just delete those. All right, so now we've gotten rid of everything. Let's reopen our component window. Let's close it and reopen it. And now let's stretch it down. And look, we have all of our stones in here. We have our hooks, the knob. But here's those two originals that are still in here. And you know why that is because we haven't purged. All right, so we still have that, and we still have the text down here somewhere. So waiting for these thumbnails to finish. Where is that text? Because that was a component as well. No, I don't see it, so that's good. All right, so we can also change the look of this from, it's right here, from small thumbnail or from details like this to large thumbnails, which would give us this. And then we have the option to change it to small thumbnails. So we can see everything here that's in our model that we've now individualized, right? So we've broken it away from the collective and it's now individualized, right? So these are all individual components. We can see we have a name, we have a definition, all of that stuff for each one of these. All right, so we could go through and right click on each one of these, go down to Save As, and save them out. Okay, I think we also want to be very mindful that we save them out as a SketchUp version that Uvision or Realtime Landscape Architect will recognize. Okay, so I'm not 100% sure on that, but you might have to come in here and back save it to a previous SketchUp version, right? If you have 2021 and it's giving you an error, then it's probably that you didn't back save it. All right, so you can go through each one of these and back save them. So maybe go back to 2017 just to be safe and hit save. I've already got it in here. So, all right, so I have all of those. I could do that individually one at a time, but that would take a long time. So there's a faster way. And what we're going to do is we're going to bulk export everything out of our component browser over here, component window. However, we don't want to bulk export that will include this or this, right? So I don't know if you want to get rid of the hangers and the hooks as well. I think those are sitting on the backs of some of these, yeah. So most of them are embedded into the component, but apparently there's a few loose ones here. Not quite sure where they are. Okay. So I'm going to just select all of these stones. And it's being a little weird rotating. Grab these. And you could go to camera, standard views, top to be totally in the top view. It makes selecting a little bit easier. I'm just going to hold control and drag from right to left and just clip the stones, and that will grab anything that it just kind of touches. So here's our problem. This one's not in a component. All right, so let's make this a component. For whatever reason, that one wasn't. So let's triple click on it, okay? And then we're gonna hit the G key on the keyboard. And this is gonna bring up our create component options. Before I actually do that, I wanna see where are see this little point right here, this red, green, and blue? That is our axis. So when we triple click on this and hit G, it'll ask us to set a component axis. So I just wanted to make sure that the component axis here was matching the rest. So I don't know what, let's see, this is a 42 by 26. Let me measure this with our tape measure tool. And it's more of like a 53 by 21. Okay, so let's maybe just borrow this name here and copy it. Triple click here, hit G, paste that in, and what do we say? 53 by 21. If I got that wrong, I apologize. I'm still working on my morning coffee. All right, so let's just hit create. And there we go. So now it's a component, and this will show up here. Let's just close our component window and reopen it. And now that will show up in here as well. All right, so now the next step is we're going to go here to details and we're going to hit Purge Unused. All right, so that got rid of those two other groups in there that we didn't need. And I'm going to go back to camera, standard view, top. I'm going to select all of these manually by holding control and dragging from right to left. Still holding control. All right, so now I'm going to right click and I want to invert selection. I guess I don't have it in here. All right, so scratch that. I'm trying to basically find out. Let me just put these in a group really quick. I'm going to select all. So they must be in this group somewhere because I'm not getting anything when I select all. Okay. So I'm guessing that they're embedded in here somewhere, those hooks in one of these. So that's fine. We'll just export them with everything else. And if you don't need them, you could just delete the SKP that you get. All right. So let's move this up here. So this is what we are going to export, a total of 38 Rosetta Stone steppers or wall block. Okay, so let's go now to details over here. And we are going to go save as a local collection. So it's going to ask us where we want to save. I'm just going to create a new folder here and call it Rosetta. Oops. Caps lock. Rosetta individual. get inside of there and select folder. And now it's doing its thing. See that the cursor is white. And it's done. All right, so let's go check out that folder. All right, so here's the folder. Let's see the time. We've just saved all of these. I'm going to go down here and turn on thumbnails. So I forgot there's a little bit of an issue. I have to fix my thumbnails for the new version of SketchUp. So sometimes when you update it, it breaks your thumbnails if you save something on this newer version. So let's just go back here to the list view, and we can see we have there's that knob and 2 hooks that we could just delete. And now we have all of these individual components. Now we can save in a folder or bring them in. So we just have to kind of make sure that they work. And if they don't, it might be an issue with the fact that this was saved out of SketchUp 2021. So when we did save a local collection, it didn't really give us the option to backdate it to a previous SketchUp save file. So the other thing that you guys can do is to actually create a 3D warehouse account. So I have a 3D warehouse account, and if I wanted to, I could go through and either do it over here in the component window, right click, or not actually. There it is. So right click and I get this option for 3D warehouse, and I could say share component. Okay, so I would get that over here as well. I right click on any one of these. Here's 3D warehouse, share component. So if I go to share component, it's going to bring up my 3D warehouse account, allow me to enter the model details. So I can actually come up here and copy this and maybe call it Rosetta, like that. And give it a description if I wanted. I could make it private if I wanted to be the only one that would see it. So, but then when I was done, I could just hit upload. Okay. And now this is my 3D warehouse account, and it's getting loaded in here. And while that's doing that, I could actually close it, come to the next one, right click, 3D warehouse, share component, do the same thing again, copy, hit upload. And now if I go to my 3D warehouse page, you'll see that I have both of those in there. And it takes a little bit for the thumbnail to show up, but they will eventually show up there. So I'll probably delete these just because they don't fit what I have. A lot of other things in everything in my warehouse is stuff that I've created, so I don't want to put anybody else's stuff in my warehouse, so I'll probably delete these. But you can kind of see how that works. So if I wanted to, I could then download these directly. And, if you're working in SketchUp and not something like Realtime or Uvision, then, you could save all of these into your own 3D warehouse. And then over here, you can actually go to My Models, and it will load in your 3D warehouse page and let you load things in from there as well. So you can see down here, I also have the folder Rosetta Individual that we created. So now if I would open up a brand new version of SketchUp, which I'm going to go ahead and do that. Save changes, no. And we're in a brand new SketchUp. Close this and reopen it. And just purge everything quick. Oh, okay. So I'm not in home. All right. So in home, you can see we have nothing in here. So this is completely empty. But if I wanted to, now I can go down and I have this folder that I saved previously. So I can click on it and now I can load these in, start placing them. However I wanted to. All right. So I hope that's helpful. That's how to bring something in from the 3D warehouse, break it down into its individual components by exploding the outer component and then saving out those individual components as a collection. Or you could also save them into your specific component folder, which you would find by going to Windows, Preference, and then whichever one you've assigned will show up here under Files. Okay, so you can also change the file location to a different place where it would look for your components. So you can store all your components here in SketchUp and then have them at your ready to use whenever you want. You could also categorize them by creating new folders and placing different things. So I might have a Rosetta folder, and maybe that's in a hardscape folder. And then I have another folder for plants, or I have another folder for furniture. And that way you can organize things and have everything at your disposal right here. All right. So I hope that's helpful to everyone. If you have any questions, please let me know. And until next time, have a good day.